tens of thousands of us viewers watched Fernando lose convincingly. And now he's the 2024 Masters Pokemon TCG World Champion. Any other news from the World Championships you guys want to talk about? There's a little bit of drama, huh? Man. Oh, man. All right. I made this tweet last night because I knew that I would want to come back on stream and be able to somewhat discuss it and talk about it. So what ended up happening that everybody's talking about at this year's World Championships was that there was an issue and a match loss was given in top 8 of the World Championships. And what I'm going to do is I'm kind of just going to tell the story, present the information, and talk about it. And just kind of shed light on what occurred, because the situation that happened was extremely confusing and weird for tens of thousands of viewers of the World Championships to experience during a live production. This chart says that Ian Robb defeated Fernando 2-0. Fernando Cifuentes, for those of you that are just joining us, is the world champion. In this match, we, as a community, watch Ian Robb face off against Fernando, top 8 of the World Championships. Keep in mind, there is tens of thousands of dollars on the line, prize money here. The prestige of finishing in the top 4 of the World Championships, getting a Pikachu trophy. If you win your top 8 match, you get a guaranteed auto invite back to next year's World Championships. And yeah, you get the number 3, number 4 trainer card, right? There's a lot. Winning top 8 is huge. If you win top 8, you get on to top 4. Top 4 is like monumentally bigger than top 8. Ian kind of destroyed Fernando. I'm not going to lie. It's not close. I mean, Fernando maybe had some points where like maybe things could have gone his way, but it was a swift 2-0. The match was over and the set was done. Here, Pablo is giving Ian Robb a winner's interview after the win. The match slip had been signed. The winner interview given. Everything seemed like it was a go. Even the graphics stated that Ian Robb was going to be in top 4 of the World Championships. Everything was concluded. What I'd like to kind of say is that it seems like everything was concluded. Tens of thousands of us viewers watched Fernando Cifuentes lose convincingly, and Ian Robb emerges the victor. Now, the moment in question, Ian Robb got a penalty. After the game was over, he was assessed a penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct. It's edited. They literally edited. It's got 1984, bro. It's gone. It's gone, bro. It's gone. Yeah, somebody post me the link real quick. Do not repeat this behavior, okay? This is the kind of thing that'll lose you $20,000, okay? Don't do it, all right? This is for history's sake, okay? I'm just putting this up here for history's sake, all right? Don't do this. However, you need to know what happened because it's important to tell. There you go. He feels really bad about it. I mean, he really regrets it. It was not a good decision. And he's in shambles about it, but honestly, it was just a bad decision. And he feels really beat up about it and is really going through it right now. I mean, you can imagine he's torn up. And I'm not here to discuss whether or not he deserved a penalty because I think he did. Per the rule book, he did. Yeah, you can't do that. No, and I got nothing but love for Ian. And I think as someone who is an older member, I'm 35, right? As someone who's an older member of the community in a leadership role, kids are going to make mistakes. They're going to be stupid. They're going to do stupid things. It's not our job. We need to help guide them, help them be the best versions of themselves, and help make it through the challenges of being a young adult. And sometimes being a young adult means that you're going to do stupid things, right? So obviously, Ian deserves a punishment. I think the punishment that he got is certainly going to haunt him for a very long time. He's going to have to live with that forever. He's been punished. You can't set that example for other people. He just has to live with that now, and that's tough. And yes, and he got punished severely. I'm not condoning his gesture. I'm not excusing it either. I think it's foolish of the Pokemon Company and all of us to think that when you get young people on camera, on stage, winning tens of thousands of dollars at a time, that situations like this aren't going to come up, right? Situations like this are going to come up 100%. We got to look at how was the situation handled, and how do we hope situations like this get handled in the future going forward, because hopefully this is the last time something like this ever happens. Ian was kind of made an example out of, right? But anytime you get young folks in the spotlight, making life-changing amounts of money, who knows, man? Who knows? You really don't know what's going to happen. I hope that people all learn a lesson from Ian's fall. And I hope that people take something away from this. And I hope that, unfortunately, Ian had to learn his lesson the hard way. But I trust that Ian's a smart kid, and that he's going to take a lot away from this as well, as someone who prides himself as a top-tier competitor and someone in the game who takes his play very seriously. What was decided in Ian's case was that Ian was going to get a match loss for his unsportsmanlike conduct. And I agree with that penalty 100%, and I agree that he should be penalized, and his behavior was in no way justified and is unacceptable. What happened was that they decided to retroactively give Fernando the win over Ian in top 8, even though Ian won the match and we all watched Ian win the match 2-0. They decided to go back and give Fernando the win instead of Ian, so that Fernando would ascend to top 4 of the World Championships instead of Ian. This was decided instead of giving Ian a disqualification, instead of giving Ian a match loss in top 4. Obviously, the second Ian BM'd, the integrity of the event was disrupted the second Ian earned himself a penalty. Because you have someone who won their match was not going to be able to go forth and simply play his top 4 opponent in the way he had earned the right to be able to do through the gameplay. As competitive viewers and competitive people, we want to see the tournament integrity maintained as much as possible, right? So, in my opinion, you are just asking yourself, what's the least disruptive solution to the integrity of the event? Either A, they were going to promote Fernando, who lost, match slip signed, Ian did his interview, Ian filled out top 4 paperwork, all that. Either you're going to reverse an outcome that already happened, or you're going to give a free outcome to someone who maybe didn't earn it. What's the best thing to do to uphold the integrity of the event? Is it to promote somebody who lost, or is it to give somebody a free win ahead of you? And I think most people, as we can see from this poll that I did, we've got 7,200 votes. Most people think that the best thing to do is to give Ian a match loss in top 4 because he won his top 8 match. So then if he gets a penalty, assess it for the future round and say, all right, you've got a match loss for your next round. You're out of the running, right? Reversing an outcome that happened is definitely worse for the integrity. And that's the thing. And I think that's the problem with the problem that the community has with it is that tens of thousands of us watched one outcome occur. And then, like, what's the point of watching that? Like, what was the point of watching the game and playing the game? You can't undo things that have been done, right? Like, you can't retroactively, like, undo the entire games that happen. That's kind of what the community's problem with it is. If you give Ian a match loss in top 4, you're not undoing history. That's the least bad situation because somebody won off a penalty, yeah, but at least you didn't undo anything that happened. Undoing stuff that happens feels like a greater evil, right? As far as like the tournament integrity goes. And keep in mind, guys, none of this has anything to do with Fernando, his quality of a player, or how proud he should be of himself for his accomplishment. Fernando went on to win the World Championships. And that's why this is such a big deal. Because we all watched Fernando lose in top 8, and then TPCI reverse that outcome because of unsportsmanlike conduct, and then that player went on to change the trajectory of the World Championships. And that doesn't really sit right with a lot of competitive people. The outcome of the World Championships was decided by something other than the cards themselves. Whenever you're assessing a penalty or whenever you're trying to like withhold the integrity of the tournament, you're trying to uphold as much integrity as possible, which means you're messing with as little as you possibly can. That's why you give your opponent the penalties going into the next game, because the previous games already happened. The previous games already happened, and you can't change what happened. And that's the precedent that is set in almost every other judge ruling that we as a community have ever experienced. You never change what happened. And that's part of why the community is so up in arms and feels so bad about it, because they feel like we just got Men in Black. Like, they feel like TPCI just came in with the Men in Black and was like, you did not see what you saw. You did not see Ian Robb win in top 8. And it's not because we feel like, you know, Fernando is an undeserving player. It's not because we feel like Chile doesn't deserve it. I'm so happy for Chile, and I'm so happy for Fernando. Good on you. An amazing accomplishment, yes. However, it feels like the integrity of the event was not upheld. We have a world champion that tens of thousands of people watched lose. In fact, we have a world champion that you can go watch lose in top 8 right now. You could go watch the world champion lose in top 8 right here. Like lose 2-0. It usually feels as like a Pokemon community, you rally around the champion who we all watched win top 8, top 4 in the finals, right? We all get to witness it. Even if there's like a minor judge call, like even in the case of like Shintaro Ito's loss to Henry Brand, it felt really bad to watch Shintaro Ito lose to Henry Brand, because of a slow play penalty. Like, that feels terrible. But at least we could say, like, most of that game was decided by the gameplay. Not only was 0% of the top 8 decided by gameplay, and because that's the key difference. If Ian had gotten a match loss in top 4, then 0% of top 4 would have been decided by gameplay. And that's true, right? But not only was 0% of the top 8 match decided by gameplay, the result was the opposite of what the cards decided. And that feels bad. It's better to give somebody a free win where at least you're not contradicting what happened in front of tens of thousands of people, rather than give somebody a free win where you're directly contradicting what happened in front of tens of thousands of people. That's why we're talking about the integrity of the event. The major problem that everybody has is that this solution feels like the most amount of integrity was lost. Instead of Ian having to play against Jesse, you now have Fernando, who lost in top 8, get promoted to play Jesse. Jesse is a 13-0 player, you know, and then you have Fernando able to upset Jesse. So now you have someone who lost their top 8, got promoted through a judge ruling, and the game's reversed, upsets the undefeated player at the World Championships who is making history by being undefeated at the World Championships, right? You can see why people are so upset. You literally, like history was being made with Jesse's run, 13-0, right? History was in the process of happening, and then you took history in the making and you undid it with a judge ruling that reversed the previous outcome of the game that tens of thousands of people watched. And then Fernando went on to win the World Championships after everyone watched him lose. It's a tough spot for the community to be in. The community just really wants to see the cards decide the outcome of the games. We want to see the best decks win, and we want to see the players who earn their spots take home the largest prizes. Not to say that Fernando didn't earn it, but we all watched him lose 2-0, right? And you can't just erase that memory from the community consciousness. You can't, right? As much as maybe TPCI wishes that they could, they can't. We all watched it. If Fernando and Ian Robb's game didn't happen on stream, maybe it would have been easier to pull a little switcheroo like that. The unfortunate reality is that it did happen on stream, and we all watched it. And we all watched Ian do a player interview afterwards where he was congratulated on his win, and he started mentally processing being in top 4 of the World Championships. And they updated the graphic to show us that Ian was moving on to top 4 of the World Championships. And obviously, 76% of the 7,000 responders think that Ian should have been assessed the penalty in top 4 rather than top 8, since top 8 was already done. Now, this is kind of crazy. Now they have on the chart that Fernando 2-0'd Ian. Which is not what occurred. This is what the book 1984 is about. Fernando didn't 2-0 Ian. That's not what happened. You can obviously see why the Pokemon community is really upset about this. And it has nothing to do with Fernando, really. Good for Fernando. You have an incredible accomplishment. You're in an elite club of world champions, and don't let any of this controversy tarnish that for you. I want to make that extremely clear. Fernando should be incredibly proud of his accomplishment. He fought hard and he played some amazing Pokemon to get there. None of the disappointment with the result should go anywhere towards Fernando, because it's not his fault, and he is just living out an incredible situation that happened to have fallen in his lap. Even Ian Robb was saying he was cheering for Fernando because Fernando seemed like a really great guy. This will always be a World Championships that kind of has an asterisk next to it, and that's really sad. It's unfortunate. It felt like the World Championships, the biggest tournament of the year, was being decided by something other than Pokemon cards. Not just a judge ruling, but that games, the worst thing that could possibly happen, games that already occurred were undone and treated as if they never happened. And that's our biggest problem with the outcome. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of the decision and the controversy in the comments below. Huge congratulations to everybody who finished in the top 8 of the World Championships, especially Fernando. And you may recognize a very special top 4 finisher, Jesse Parker, who is going to be on stream again soon to tell us all about his top 4 World Championship performance. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that fun stuff, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.